Hello everyone, welcome to another podcast. It's Ben Lister here. How are you doing? Welcome to another podcast. Today's episode is the alternative audio with Chris Marsden from my Ben Lister podcast radio show. So here it is. Talk to you at the wrap up, BL out, and that's a wrap.
And then you can put the two together and it'll sound sweet. No problem at all. So I'm rolling at this end, sir. So whenever you're ready, let's crack on for it. Okay. Thank you. We're all good. We're all good. I've just been for a walk that we'd done during lockdown, and it was a long walk actually in the cold. It's really weird because one side of the village there's a load of snow, on the other side there's a sunny side, and there's got no snow whatsoever. And it's almost like one half of the village is in Antarctica and the other side is actually in my village. It's just bizarre, but it was a nice walk with the dog, went to the shop, got some salmon and vegetables for tonight's tea with my wife, and it was really good. But life is sweet at the moment, sir. Life is sweet. Go for it, matey. I am ready to rumble. Yeah, okay. Started in my bedroom. No, like all great broadcasters, started in your bedroom to broadcasting to a whole big bunch of teddy bears. Then we progressed and moved on to Bassetlaw Hospital Radio. And, well, it was actually Worksop Hospital's radio to begin with, because there was the Victoria Hospital and the brand new Bassetlaw Hospital that had just been built. And we broadcast to both of those buildings. And then we merged the two to just call it Bassetlaw Hospital Radio. And eventually the Victoria Hospital was closed down and the Bassetlaw Hospital just took over. And so I started my career back in 1991. At the same time, I was at school. I was doing my final year at school. And we started a school campus radio. And it was really, really kind of tin pot to begin with, because we played all our music from a tape deck or a record player. And that was it. You can only play one per time. So you couldn't have multiple faders up on the desk. It was just like one fade and you had to switch between the two. So therefore you had to talk before you started the next track. And we had, Lord rest his soul, Davy Jones from the Monkees that opened up the radio station, pulled up in his black Porsche into the driveway of the school, and there's this little man that comes out the car. Really, really nice guy. Lovely fella. And I did Portland Comprehensive Radio, or PCR, as it was back then, and did that for about a year before handing over the realms of the radio station to the other students that then took over. So still did that at the same time as hospital radio. So learnt my trade, and I stayed at Bassetlaw Hospital Radio and within the hospital radio sector from 1991 all the way through to 2001. So good 10 years I spent there. Became program controller, did breakfast show, did the mid-mornings, did the late night love affair, all sorts of different shows and genres that I covered. Meanwhile, learning my craft along the line. So then 1993 came across, and there was a chance for me to join a radio station just down the road in Sheffield called Meadowhall Information Radio. And so this was a little box room just above the food court at Meadowhall in Sheffield. And I tell you what, the smell was just too much, because you had these gargantuan smells of KFC and McDonald's and Pizza Hut and the American diner below you with all these burgers. Oh, it was just, you wanted to eat. Every time you went to the studio, you just wanted to eat. You weren't spinning discs, you wanted to spin plates. But anyway, so we did that. I did that for 2 years running, made some very good friends within the sector. And one of those friends said, oh, there's a job going on Steve Banyard's sports show to read the sports results on Radio Hallam, or Hallam, the new Hallam FM as it was back then. And so I sent a demo tape in, got the job, started to read out the sports results on Steve Banyard's Saturday sports show. It was great. It's a fantastic level to launch yourself from. And then there was a gentleman called Barry Stockdale at BBC Radio Sheffield that heard me and said, actually, Chris, I wouldn't mind giving you a break and allowing you to do the traffic and travel from Urban Traffic Control in Sheffield for Radio Sheffield's breakfast show and drive show. And also, whilst you're here, you can do some What's On guides and maybe produce the Tony Capstick show alongside Simon. So went to Radio Sheffield, and so did the morning slot for traffic and travel from Urban Traffic Control in Sheffield City Centre. Or then it moved to Don Valley, and then I was doing the drive show, Traffic and Travel, and also producing, Lord rest his soul, Tony Capstick's show. And that was great, and then became friends with Phil Bodmer, who's from BBC Look North and does various different radio stations within the BBC Yorkshire stations. And ended up filling in for Phil Bodmer on the Time Tunnel on a Saturday afternoon. And so I gathered all these demos at the same time, creating all these demos, and sent a demo off to a gentleman called Rob Wagstaff at Trent FM in Nottingham, which was just down the road, really, from where I used to live in Worksop. And he gave me a job. He gave me the Overnight Express. So I got 2 good radio jobs at this time during 1994 and 1995. So I was doing the Overnight Express in Nottingham, in Arnold, and then travelling all the way from Nottingham to Sheffield, doing the travel bulletins for the breakfast show, going home, getting some kip, then driving to Sheffield again, doing the travel bulletins there, and then driving to Nottingham overnight. So burning the candle at both ends, really. But that lasted until Christmas week 1995, and I was made redundant from both of those stations at the same time. So Christmas week, BBC Radio Sheffield had to let me go. They made 200 staff across the BBC redundant at that time, as did the GWR group as well. So I could no longer do my Overnight Express. So 1995 Christmas was just pants, really. But I picked myself up and got myself together again. After spending 6 months on my friend's bedroom floor, I got myself a job at a pie factory down the road and got myself back into working. All this time I was still doing hospital radio, so still got my foot in the door. Never forget your roots. Never forget your roots. So continue to do that. Then somebody heard me on Hallam FM from the previous year because I was still doing the sports for Steve Banyard, and that was Howie Pressman from now BBC Radio Sheffield, used to be on Hallam FM, and he said, I've got a very, very exciting prospect. I'm going to be the program controller at Minster FM in York. So I went then to Minster. He gave me the drive show. I then did that from 1997 to 2001. Then I was headhunted by Lewis Clark, who used to be the group program director of Global for the Heart Network. And so he said, look, I'm starting a new job in Coventry. I've heard you. Would you like to become the drive time jock on Mercia FM in Cov? Yeah, no problem. So moved down to Coventry. And so where I then did the drive show, did the evening show, and then did early breakfast and breakfast as well at Mercia FM. So did quite a few of those jobs. I was then headhunted to go and work for Garrison Radio in Catterick. So I went to go and work there. Then I was headhunted to go and work at Fresh Radio in the Dales and became program controller and successfully brought that radio station to winning 2 Sony Academy Awards for Best Radio Station Outside of London. Great. And who gave me those awards? None other than Johnny Beerling, who used to be the program director of Radio 1, circa early 80s, all the way through to the 1990s when Matthew Bannister took over. We won't mention that. And then from there, Skipton, I was then headhunted and went to Century FM in the Northeast in Gateshead and presented the mid-morning show there for a couple of years. I then was enticed back to Skipton, to Fresh Radio. Went back to Fresh Radio and at the same time produced and broadcast the breakfast show on Stray FM in Harrogate in 2005. Then headhunted by the BBC again, went to BBC Radio York and did 3 network programmes for BBC Radio York, BBC Radio Leeds, BBC Radio Tees, BBC Radio Humberside and BBC Radio Sheffield. So I was on the whole network on Friday nights, Saturday nights and Sunday nights doing various different shows. So I did Friday Night Funk, did Saturday Night Take-In. So it was a takeaway, a bit like Canton Deck, but it was a take-in, so you would stop in. And then on Sunday night, it was Sunday Night Love Songs across the whole network. At the same time, headhunted to do voiceovers for TLRC, the local radio network of radio stations, 27 stations across the UK. So I became the voiceover artist of all of those radio stations. At the same time, became the station voiceover for Jazz FM in London. So I did that, and then I was headhunted at Minster FM to become the breakfast show host at Minster. So I did that for a couple of years, and then headhunted to go to Viking FM, which is where I went to then from 2013 through to 2017. Yeah, and so I broadcast on Drive and did the evening show and did weekends and also networked to Hallam FM, also networked to, I've missed out Hallam FM, big chunk Hallam FM from 97 to 2001. I was doing the weekends there as well. Quite a checkered broadcasting career. I did Capital Disney with Pat Sharp as well and broadcast across the UK with the Capital Group. So I've done a varied amount and I am where I am today, which is running local radio for York and surrounding areas, but also within our wonderful group of radio stations. We've got HG1 in Harrogate, which I do the breakfast show on, and I do Drive on Wire1 Radio. We've also got TX1, RB1, we got West Yorkshire Radio, Holiday Radio, and there's, please let me not forget anyone else, KL1 Radio, KL1 in Kings Lynn as well. So, my goodness, it's been a big broadcasting varied career, and along that time I created my production company and voiceover company, Definitive Media, which is now Definitive Media Worldwide Limited, and I've got agents in the United States of America. I've got European agents, work for voiceovers SAL, and I've got a London agent as well, Divine Voices International, and all of those agents serve me greatly, and they do a superb job. And I do voiceovers, and I've never left my roots. Right at the very beginning I said, Ben, that you never forget your roots, Ben, never forget your roots. So I do voiceovers for Radio Hillingdon down south. I do hospital radio voiceovers for Harrogate Hospital Radio, for York Hospital Radio, and various other different hospital radios up and down the UK. So never ever forget your roots. I've always been closely associated to hospital radio because it is so ground roots. Just great launch pad. To launch yourself from. Really is good. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. It is. But it is the way that the big corporations can make their books, but it does miss out the middleman. It misses out as they say, inverted commas, the small man, the small lady in business, where they don't really get a look in because they haven't got big bucks to spend on advertising on their local radio station. So we've now developed this style and this format of local radio, which it's a winning formula. It really is. And all we're doing is putting the listener first. That's what we're doing. That's right. Yeah, very much so. But, each to what each corporation does and which each company does, and they do it really well, and they are lords of their own destiny with that pen that they push across that writing and those contracts. But it is what it is. It is what it is, Ben. Easy peasy. Two, really. One, Kenny Everett. Kenny Everett was such an amazing broadcaster. His talent was just impeccable. He just exuded. He sweated radio. He was Mr. Creative, and that's where I get my creative juices and flow and humour from. I was always a big fan of Kenny, not just on the radio, but also with his TV shows that he used to do, because he was just Mr. Creative. So that's number one. Number two, have to say, and still do, greatly admire Steve Wright. Just an amazing broadcaster. Puts his listeners at ease, puts his interviewees at ease as well, just to make sure that he's editing the right bits, the right spots. Do they really want to come across like that? Let's record that again. Let's do that. Just, he's the master of all he surveys. So, yet again, those two main people, Kenny Everett for the production values, and Steve Wright just for his presentation and style, which is just unrivaled, just unmatched. Tony Blackburn. Yeah, I have had the pleasure of meeting Tony Blackburn and several radio legends, of the airwaves. Yet again, another one of those legends that I absolutely adore and I'm friends with. And never in the day would I think that, being a teenager growing up, listening to radio, listening to Bruno Brooks on the radio, doing the countdown, doing the top 40, just an absolute legend of the countdowns, just that style, that quickness, just amazing. Really nice guy. And never would I think that when I was growing up listening to him on the radio that he'd be liking my Instagram photos one day, be sharing my Instagram photo. Just absolutely, the mind boggles, it really does. And I became friends with Bruno Brooks quite a bit ago when he used to do my voiceovers. For free, may I add as well, for my hospital radio show. So yet again, always go back to your roots, never forget them. Totally, yeah. And it never leaves you, Ben. Once you've got radio flowing through your blood, you can never ever get rid of it. Bless him. Yet again, another genuine person, really, really down to earth. Fantastic. He'd be pleased knowing that. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, legend. The music. The music. With being a radio broadcaster, I still get kicks out of doing radio and playing music and listening to the music as well. Because if I go, tune, oh man, not another years, then someone else is going to be doing that as well. I don't know how the other broadcasters cope by playing the same songs day in, day out, because they test well. I don't get that. I don't get that at all. You know, if you're going to play a song, be genuine about it. Don't make out that you've picked that song, you know, because there's no point. It's people are not thick. It's simple as that, really. And they need to be treated with respect. The listener needs to be treated with respect. It's all about the listener. If I've made one person happy, job done. Great, I can sleep that night knowing full well I've put a big beaming smile on their face. And that's what matters. People matter in radio, and that's what I get a kick out of. It's playing the music, making somebody happy, job done. Well, I think you'll find he sounds like me. It affected me greatly to begin with, like it did everybody on planet Earth. You kind of wandered around going, well, what do we do now? How do we do this? But with some brilliant friends in the industry and some great technology that they use, we're able to broadcast from home. And all I've got is a simple Behringer Pro Mixer DX2000 USB desk. I've got a lovely Electronica mic, and I've got my vocal tones, and I've got a broadband connection, and then that's all I need. And then I've got some lovely friends who work at Playout One, who are amazing. So hats off to Chris and Dave and the lovely Phil and everyone else behind the scenes at Playout One. They are superb. They bend over backwards to help you. And the technology they've created in such a very short space of time to make you, enable you to broadcast from home is just fantastic. You know, you wouldn't know and you wouldn't hear that you're broadcasting from home. Many people don't know that I'm still broadcasting from home, although I do mention it every now and then, but there's no need to mention it because radio's radio. You know, I could be sat here and be kegs, you know, if there wasn't a video in front of my face right now. But I could be here in my pajamas, I could be in the nuddy. Much that you wouldn't want to watch this on a podcast, but it's the great thing about the technology and the software that they have provided is just second to none. You could be out in the sticks, so long as you've got a signal on your mobile phone, you can tether that signal to your laptop and broadcast. It's just fantastic. So hats off to Playout One. They have made our job a lot easier and have put our minds at rest. So during COVID, during the pandemic, do you know what? To begin with, it was a little bit jittery. Now, fine with it. Totally fine. Thank you, sir. Stop it. Well, that's great for you as well, isn't it? You know, the technology has allowed you to do this kind of thing, and you know that is helping you with your broadcasting. It's helping you with your mental state. You're helping you with everything that's about you, and you're getting to interview your heroes. I mean, how good is that? Brilliant. Okay, never broadcast to the masses. That's my one tip that I would give to you. You are talking to one person. Like Ben, you're talking to me right now. You're not talking to everybody out there in listener land. You're talking to one person. That microphone there is one person. So treat that person with respect. Never speak as if you're a third person. So never say, "Hi, this is Chris Marsden. Would you ever introduce yourself to somebody in a pub when we're allowed to," inverted commas, in a pub, would you extend your hand, when we're allowed to, inverted commas, to somebody and say, you probably come to me and say, "Hi, I'm Ben," and if I was to say, "Hello, this is Chris Marsden," you think he's a bit weird, and exit. So you never introduce yourself as "This is Chris Marsden" or "This is Ben Lister," anyone like that. So keep it on a one-to-one basis. Keep it real as well. Keep it personal. Keep it on a one-to-one basis, and you can't go wrong. And radio will always be for the listener. Radio will always be there. Doesn't matter what kind of technology, what kind of downloads you can come up with, or kind of networking, etc. Because the more personal you make it, the better the radio is. It really is. And that's the way. Again, I'll recall Steve Wright, for instance, he's always talking to you. You're right there. You're okay. You're right. Adrian John used to do that. Every time he would wake up the nation at 5:30 in the morning before Simon Mayo came on the radio on Radio 1, it would be like, "Hi, Adrian John here. 2 sugars, thanks, mate." And it's almost like, "All right, I'm making a cup of coffee right now for Adrian John on the radio." He's never going to have it. It's going to be sat there on the side, cold, but at least I'm making him a cup of coffee. And that's how radio is. It should always be personal. Never big yourself up, yo, 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 and up there with the echelons. It should always be down to earth, and people will admire you for that. They'll find a connection if you're personal, Ben, if you're personal. Yeah. They will never be able to reform him. If he doesn't like it, he'll walk. You watch this space. Yeah. They'll never take me on. Never. Good luck with that, Ben. Good luck. You're welcome. Thank you so much indeed, Ben. It's been an absolute pleasure. Yay! Fantastic. I'm on time as well.
That was my alternative audio with Chris Marsden. Hope you all enjoyed it. Hope it filled a gap in your time, and I hope it made you smile. Yeah, a few more videos coming from me today, so I'll talk to you soon and in a bit. But for now, thanks very much for watching, and that's a wrap. And it'll be 41 of the Chatbot podcast, and 42 and 43 and maybe 44, so talk to you then. Bye.